A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 14th May 2020. Day is Thursday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Rudyard Kipling. Never look backwards or you will fall down the stairs. He has used the word stairs here. So when you are moving ahead, when you are moving up in your life, don't worry about your past, right? Don't think too much about your past. Past is gone. The things that you can learn from the past, you should learn and apply it in present and in your future. That's the best we can do with the past, right? So that's what I think he's trying to teach us from this quote. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched a smart course for Civil Services Examination. Now, this smart course is designed by the best faculties of our country. EMI option is also available, but this EMI option will last till 20th May only. So to find out more about our smart course and EMI option, all you have to do is download our mobile app on your phone and go through the details that you find on our app. To download the PDF of today's discussion, do check out my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to get in touch with me, then this is my FB page here. Dear friends, we have 5 articles on our table today. The first one is about generalist versus a specialist, right? What it is all about. I'll take you through it. Very important topic for those students who are preparing for Civil Services Examination. Second one is about habits. I'm going to be a bit brief here. I'm not saying that I'm expert in habits and behavioral change, but I have a little bit 1% knowledge about this thing. I have read a couple of books about habits and things. So I'm going to share some tips with you guys, and these tips will help you improve your preparation. Third one is about local motive. This one is about Prime Minister's call for Atmanirbhar or self-reliant India. Then we have liquidity lifeline. Very important article. This one is about Nirmala Sitharamanji's announcement regarding MSMEs. It's basically about the package that she has declared. And I have added many points here. The reason why I have added many points here is because I believe in near future, in few days' time, you will find more articles, more things on this liquidity lifeline or this topic. So today we will build a strong base, and hopefully in future when we will find more articles on this thing, it will be a sort of cakewalk for us, or it will be very easy for us to comprehend what the future articles will talk about. A plan to revive a broken economy. It's talking about cash and food. We'll go through it, and there are some other changes as well or other things that are recommended in this last article. So the first one is about it's time to give IRS officers their due. Now recently this thing was in news. It's a controversy, and it's a bit unfair as well on this IRS officers. IRS stands for Indian Revenue Services or Service, and I'm sure you know how it works, right? In examination you appear for UPSC. Most of the students, they prefer to join IAS. Then you have IFS, that is Indian Foreign Services. Then you have police services, and then you have Indian Revenue Services, and there are other services as well. Now, CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Tax, is a wing of Ministry of Finance. It has initiated a disciplinary proceedings against some IRS officers. Are these IRS officers corrupt? No, they are not corrupt. Have they abused anyone, minister or any functionary of the government? No. So what was their crime, or what is their crime basically? There is no crime. Actually, what happened is that this 50 IRS officers together, they thought that it is their duty to help the government in this hour of crisis. So they prepared a report. The report title is Fiscal Options and Response to COVID-19 Epidemic, or FORCE. This is the short form of this report. So this FORCE report was submitted to government, and this FORCE report is what it is talking about. It is saying that we need to raise this highest slab rate to 40% for those people who are earning more than 1 crore rupees. We need to reintroduce a wealth tax for those with wealth of 5 crore or more, providing an additional one-time cess of 4% on taxable income of 10 lakh rupees or more, providing tax relief for sectors hit hard by COVID-19, and reintroducing the inheritance tax. So these are a few suggestions that we find in this force report. And I'm sure we are all on the same page that we don't find anything criminal in this thing. There is nothing wrong in these suggestions. In fact, few of the things are like helping those sectors hit hard by COVID-19. This is something that government is doing. And in future, we will find some other points that government will implement. So why you are punishing these IRS officers? The main reason that we find in this article is that it is all about this evergreen battle between generalist versus specialist. Now let me throw some more light on this thing. Generalist. An IAS officer is a generalist, right? Indian administrative officer, you can say he or she is a generalist because they don't have any expertise. They don't have any expertise in any particular field, right? They know basic things about many different things. So this generalist, you can place them anywhere. That's how they are designed and trained. You can post them in financial services, you can post them in your finance ministry, or maybe defense ministry, or home ministry, or etc. Right? So they are like you can say they are like they basically they can fit anywhere, flexible enough, right? I don't want to use any other words or examples, or it may create a controversy, but anyway, I was going to say, let me tell you, it's like basically potatoes, in Indian curries, you will find in India, right, potatoes is, or there are a few other items, vegetables, they are generic. Everyone likes them, and you find them everywhere, right, throughout our country. So something similar, IS, right? I hope this will help. We have IPS, IRS, Indian Foreign Services. These services are, you need specialists for them. For example, a person, now the problem is that we have just one examination for all these various different services. You clear this UPSC Civil Services Examination, and based on your ranking, you have to choose you get this option, like the service that you like, but it will depend on your rank. The higher your rank, the more choice you have. So most of them, they prefer IAS officer, right? Because if you see, the overall progress is quite good. You climb many ladders if you join IAS services. If you join IPS services or revenue services, then your growth is limited compared to IAS officers. So this is one of the main reasons. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into detail of this thing. So when it comes to IPS, or let's say IRS or IFS, the thing is, once you join IPS service, you are trained for police services, and then you are always working as a police officer. So you, after a few years, or maybe throughout your career, you become an expert with police services, because you have worked in this only one area, and that is policing. If you are a revenue service officer, then you have worked only in one sector, and that is revenue and finance and things, right? And if you are like foreign service officer, diplomat, for example, then you have worked in this international arena and you are expert in this thing. So the problem is that we don't find experts right at the top of this pyramid, right? In let's say home ministry, home secretary is generally speaking your IAS officer. Same thing with finance ministry, same thing with foreign ministry. Mostly foreign secretaries are from this branch only, IFS, but we have seen some IAS officers manning foreign secretary job as well. Very few, but we have one or two examples like that as well. So this is the problem in our system. Generalists are basically everywhere, and they are right at the top of your pyramid, and this is one of the main reasons why so many things are not perfect in our country. I'm not blaming IAS officers, I'm blaming the system. This article is also blaming the system. Means we have loopholes in exam as well. This UPSC Civil Services, we should have, if you want to recruit a generalist, then you should if you want to select IAS officers, then you need to ask them for all these subjects like polity and geography, economy, history, etc. If you want IPS officers, then you need to select them. You can have a little bit of current affairs, and general awareness is very important for police officers. Of course, they should know what's going on in their sudden environment as well as their extended environment. But you can ask more questions based on security, technology, right, to cyber, and there are so many things. Same thing goes with revenue services. You can have like experts who have worked in like finance, if their background is finance or economy or commerce. You need to have more officers like that, and for that you can have a dedicated examination that will ask more questions, will be based on these things. So this is something that we need to do with our examination, as well as the best person should be selected for the top job, right? Your secretaries should be selected based on their other abilities as well as their background and their expertise. So this is something that is not happening, and because of this thing we find so many issues, right, in various different departments. This article is giving us an example of budget. Now we find IAS officer with finance minister during this press briefing of the budget, but IRS officers are the one who have worked hard, and they are the ones who have prepared this whole budget. So it's quite logical to have one IRS officer with finance minister rather than an IAS officer. And this is something that we find in all departments, right? In various different press briefings as well, we find this thing that journalists are, right at the very top. I have said this thing again, so I'm not repeating it now anymore. And this article is also saying that one of the main problem with our laws, income tax laws, are a big mess at present because, again, this article is blaming IAS officers. This article is also providing one example that this whole financial year, these extensions were given to various different things. So, practically financial year was extended from March to June. We are talking about 2019 because of various different extensions and changes and things that we saw in 2019. Steel frame of our country, steel frame of our India, right? We call IAS as a backbone of our nation. Of course, bureaucrats are backbone, and IAS is a steel frame of our India, but we have spotted some rust, and this is not just from recent past, for a very long period of time. It has developed a bit of rusting here and there, and it needs a proper polishing and proper repairing, and we need to separate this generalist from specialist, and this is something that is very important, because I'll give you one example and then we'll move on. The problem is, if you see police services, there are so many. Of course, there are great police officers in our country, but we can have some more great police officers if we have special exam for police services or this sort of services. Because what happens is, those people whose main goal was to join IAS, but they got their rank is not that great, right? They are somewhere in 120, 30, 140 or something like that. So IAS vacancies are filled, IFS is taken, so now they are left with this option, and that is IPS. So we don't find that many people who genuinely want to join police services, but they are the ones who are not selected in IAS, and they have the next best option is IPS for them after IFS. So we need to have more those sort of people whose temperament is for police services and for revenue services and for other services. Now let's move on to next item, forced to adopt new habits. This one is about habits. Now I'll throw a few tips with you guys. Now the thing is, this article is talking about this COVID-19, and because of COVID-19 lockdown and other things, we are forced, means generally what happens is that it becomes very difficult for us to develop or acquire a new habit, isn't it? Because normally we are in our default mode. The things that we like to do, the things that we do on default mode, right? We cannot, or I'm not saying we cannot, but the thing is, it becomes a bit difficult for us to change that default mode because we are so used to with that thing. And I believe many of you want to change few things in your life. Like, one thing that I find quite common with students is they want to wake up early. Now we can have a different altogether a sort of different discussion or a separate discussion on waking up early, whether it is good or bad and things like that. But let's say if that is your goal, or let's say if you want to study for extra few hours, so what are the things that you should do, whether you should take a nap in the afternoon or not. There are so many questions, but I think let's talk about waking up early, right? Or I think this will relate with all of us or all of you. So many of you will think that from tomorrow I will wake up at 6 a.m. Normally you wake up at 9 a.m., let's say, right? And then you decide that all of a sudden you will start at 6 a.m. And if you don't wake up at 6 a.m., then you will think that, oh, you don't have that willpower. One of your friend, he or she wakes up at 6 a.m. every day, but you don't have that willpower. And this affects your other things as well. This affects your confidence. So why it is very difficult to wake up at 6 a.m., right? Or let's say if you wake up at 12 p.m. every day, then why it is difficult for you to wake up at 9 a.m. every day? The thing is, you are trying to achieve something that is impossible at present, right? But impossible, or your method, the technique that you are using is not right. Rather than taking this big jump, how about just waking up 15 minutes earlier, right? Just 15 minutes. If you wake up at 9, start getting up by 8:45 a.m. for few days. Once you are comfortable with 8:45, push the envelope a little bit further, 8:30, make it then 8:15 after a few days. This way, let's say in a month time or 2 months time, you will reach your goal, isn't it? You will definitely reach, and you will maintain. This will become your habit as well. Every few 15 minutes reduction. And this is not just about waking up. You have to work on the other side as well. Let's say if you go to bed at 11 p.m., then you have to go to bed at 10:45 p.m., then 10:30 p.m., then 10 p.m., 10:15, 10. In the same way, if you're cutting down 15 minutes here, then you have to cut down 15 minutes here as well. So this will change your habit. So think about it, right, and try to apply this thing in various different spheres of your life. These are called nudges. We find these things as well are nudges, right? These circles or rectangles that we draw outside our various different places. And this is going to be a common thing. Washing hands, wearing a mask, all these things. When you see someone wearing a mask, it will create directly, it's that person is part of your environment. This will impact your behavior as well. You will wear a mask because someone else is wearing a mask, or most of the people are wearing mask. A person who is not wearing mask, he will feel odd. So these are new habits that coronavirus has created, and these are some good habits that we need to follow to protect ourselves. Moving on to local motive. For now, Prime Minister talked about Atmanirbhar or self-reliant India. This is something, means it may look new, but if you analyze it, then this is not new. If you go through nationalist economic policies, right, this Rashtravadi economic policies, people have, Gandhiji used to talk about Swadeshi, and there are so many other political parties. Their ideology is also about using more and more Swadeshi or India-made products and services. But I would like to argue that it's okay. I would love to use more and more Indian products, but I would expect best quality from Indian products, best quality from Indian services. If someone else is providing me best services in reasonable rate or comparative rate, then I will definitely use the best product, isn't it? It doesn't matter if that product is made by Chinese or Korean or American. Let's say, for example, mobile phones. Apple and our local Indian companies. Now, of course, you know that Apple or this, there are other companies, Samsung or maybe LG, I don't know. So we have so many companies, right? And then we have some Indian companies. So if you compare the quality, then you know that these companies are more innovative. These foreign companies are more innovative, and people buy their products. People pay premium prices. It's not that they don't like India. The thing is, if you are spending money, then you will expect the best quality. The money that you're spending, you will expect a return, like value that you get by spending that much amount. So this is something that we should focus on. Then people will use more and more local products. 1991, India came out with this LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization policies, and this has helped us, right? We opened our doors for global investment and global companies, but our door opening was not, means we have opened a little bit, I would say, or half the door was open, half the gate was open, not full, because, and there are reasons behind it, but the thing is, it has helped us as well, right? It has provided, it has saved us from, let's say, 2008's financial crisis. India was saved because we were not totally dependent on foreign companies. So this has helped us as well. And then we know Prime Minister Modi came out with this Make in India. Make in India is all about making India a manufacturing hub for local products as well as for global products. So we have always, focused. We have, for a very long period of time, this thing is very common that this self-reliance has always been core of our manufacturing and services. And we have also, this COVID-19 episode has also, uncovered this whole vulnerability that we find with various different Western nations. They have outsourced their medicines and medical equipments and other things to China and other countries, and now they are facing, so many issues because this countries, China and other countries, they have applied some export restriction on these items. But there are a few things they will stay global, and there are a few things that we have to keep them global. For example, medical equipments, other things that are important for humanity, right? We have to make it global. When I say global, I mean to say that we have to supply it, we have to supply finished products, or maybe if you can get best raw material from some other countries, then you have to take it from there. You have to buy it from there and make your products. So this self-reliance or Atmanirbhar Bharat should not be taken as negative thing, that we are going to be more protectionist or we are going to be against globalization. No. The things that we can make in our country, we should. If we can make things for other nations, if we can make it here, then we should. But at the same time, there are a few products that we have to keep it open for everyone, for humanity. Moving on to next item, liquidity lifeline. Now, before going through this lines, I would like to take you through this infographic. Now, this is coming from the first page of the Hindu newspaper. Without understanding this thing, you cannot understand this article. So, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji announced the features of the first part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. 3 lakh crore emergency credit for MSMEs. Only domestic firms can bid for government procurements up to 200 crores. So if there is something that government wants to buy, and if the thing is, let's say the tender is for 200 crores or less, then only local domestic firms will be able to apply. So this will give them a chance to grow, right? That's what this point is all about. So it is basically about nurturing our small companies. For employees or taxpayers, EPF deduction slashed for 3 months to 20% from 24% of salary. IT returns deadline extended. I will explain this point as we move on. Right, I have some 1 or 2 added points for this thing. One point that I will explain you right now is that this will enhance this EPF deduction will enhance home pay if employers pass it on, but dent retirement saving. So retirement saving will be a little bit low, but at present it will give more money in the hands of people. For infrastructure sector, 90,000 crore to stressed state distribution. This will be given by power PSUs. Deadlines for realty projects and public infrastructure contracts extended. And for financial sector, 45,000 crore for this NBFCs, 30,000 crore special liquidity for microfinance, housing finance firms and NBFCs, right? So this is the news item. Now let's move on to more analysis side. Now this is not the first announcement. If you analyze, if you take, I'm sure you to be aware that government has said that the earlier announcement, the earlier package, relief package in late March 2020, package for poor and marginalized is part of this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Then, RBI came out with some announcements in March and April, this LTRO, or not LTRO, but TLTRO, as well as repo rate reduction and things. So these things are also part of this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, self-reliant India. So this is basically this whole infographic and points here are second, you can say, episode or trench of the announcement. Of course, liquidity is something that we find everywhere, right? It is the core theme of this whole announcement. 3 lakh crore collateral free assistance. Collateral free, you know that if MSME needs loan of, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, if it does not have anything as collateral, then as well it will get loan from the bank. And if something goes wrong with that loan, then government's guarantee is there. So bank will get that money from the government and MSME will get support from the bank. So it's basically about, it's not about giving free money, but it is giving a sort of guarantee so that banks will feel headache free whilst giving loan to MSME, and MSMEs will get this money as quickly as possible. The government could have specified the interest cap. Government has not specified any interest cap, so different bank will charge different interest. So I think we need more clarity on this thing. Again, the scheme could have been extended until the end of this financial year instead of 31st October 2020. India is now entering the monsoon season when activity is traditionally dull, particularly infrastructure activities are dull. So it is not clear how many borrowers will get the benefit. The 20,000 crore partially guaranteed subordinated debt program and 50,000 crore fund for funds scheme will help boost equity portion on MSME finances. But again, the finer details need to be clear. We need more clarity on this thing. NBFCs, housing finance firms, microfinance entities get a much required liquidity boost in the form of 30,000 crore scheme, wherein their debt papers will be fully guaranteed by the government. Here as well, government is providing them a guarantee. With this, the partial credit guarantee scheme of 45,000 crore rupees, the government has broken the logjam wherein banks were unwilling to extend credit despite the RBI's strong push. Banks were not ready to take this risk, but with government guarantee, credit guarantee, right, they will be inclined to give this money. And then as far as this, provident fund thing that I told you, I'll explain it to you in a minute. So the extension is for 3 months, June, July, and August. Now, this provident fund support for businesses and workers in companies employing fewer than 100 people with 90% earning less than 15,000 rupees a month is effectively 24% wage support to small enterprise, and this will basically inject 6,750 crore rupees liquidity in the system. In an attempt to put more money in the hands of the people, the government announced a 25% reduction in tax deducted or collected at source, but only for non-salary payments. This one is for fixed deposits as well as rent payments, and this will inject some 50,000 crore rupees as well. Last one is about a plan to revive a broken economy. So this article is talking about two supports or two things, free food and cash. As far as cash is concerned, we need to provide 7,000 rupees per month for next 3 months to every household. And as far as food is concerned, we should provide 10 kilo of food grain to every individual for next 6 months. And together, both things will cost us 3% of our GDP, assuming that 20% will voluntarily drop out. We have enough food, 77 million tons already with FCI, and 40 million tons will be added with this Rabi procurement. So we have enough food grains. Cash transfers are important. This will help us boost demand at local level, at local markets. When people will have money in their hands, when they will get money from government, they will spend this money for buying all those necessary items. So more items, the demands will go up and supply will go up, and this will help. It will maintain this liquidity at grassroots level. For migrant workers, many of them, they will not come back. So what we have to do is we have to go to them and provide them employment at village level. Rather than giving this 100-day limit or 200-day limit, how about making it limitless, right? Whenever you need work, government will provide it. If not, then government will give you money. under this MG-Narega. MG-Narega should be extended to care activities as well. Just imagine you have, let's say, 40 couples, right? They are ready to work now. Out of these 40 couples, let's say 2 ladies are ready to look after the kids of these 40 couples. So this 2 ladies should be covered under MG-Narega. Their caregiving activities should be covered under MG-Narega, so the rest 38 can work throughout the day. Revamped MG-Narega could cover wage bills of rural enterprises started by panchayats. That's what China does, right? China have this TVEs, that is township and village enterprises. So those enterprises started by panchayats, they should be covered by MG-Narega. If you want to support your farmers, then their laborers should be covered under MG-Narega. We should have one for urban area as well. Micro, small and medium enterprises employing people, they can get this urban Narega facility. Urban Narega in the sense like National Urban Employment Guarantee Scheme, something like that. And we need to boost our public healthcare system. We need to boost our education system. Right, for that as well we need money. And this article is also saying that if we, let's say, collect 2% wealth tax from top 1% population of our country, and together with that, if we collect 33% inheritance tax on the wealth they get from their parents, then this will give us some 10% of our GDP worth money, and we can use it for post-COVID-19 development of our country. News items, cases are going up. This is a matter of concern. 3.6 million money that we are going to get from, or we're going to get from this Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, will be delayed because from December 2019, this CDC fund are under watch list. CAPF canteens to go Swadeshi. Taiwan wants to join hands with India. Huge loss for 21 major states, 97,100 crore collective revenue loss. Guidelines issued on use of air condition, and Nepal said that this Kalapani territory is their territory. India can use it for a pass, but it will not hand over this territory to India. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.